If you could describe your Philadelphia Eagles, your 76ers, your Phillies, your Flyers, your Union, if you could describe how you feel about one of your Philadelphia teams in 3 words or less, what would those 3 or less words be? It's a little fun topic we're going to have today. Renee Washington, the great, hardworking individual she is, will be joining us to talk Phillies and Union in just a little while. Trending in the AM, taking your 3 word opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow. Share this out on every platform you're watching on, any platform you're watching on, and make sure to get those comments in, those thoughts in, those opinions in. We got a fun show and a great guest coming on later in the show. We got Renee Washington. She's the lead for PHLY Sports on their Union and Phillies team. She also does Flyers work over there. She could talk Sixers, Eagles. She could talk it all. I can't wait to have her on the show later today, about 9 a.m. So about an hour into this show, we will get her on. But make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, retweet button for me. I greatly appreciate it. And today's topic, we're having a little fun. I was on Mitchie Pooh's show on EOP last week. And at the end of the show, he asked me to describe the Eagles in 3 words. And I was caught off guard. Like, it's a great little segment. So I'm like, we're going to do it. So I give compliments to Mitchie Pooh in the comments, wherever he may be. This is his idea, but we're going to tweak it a little bit. I need you to describe any of the Philadelphia sports teams, your feelings on them at this exact moment in 3 words or less. And we're going to discuss your feelings on them. And I've got some 3 word or less descriptions for all the teams, including the Union here. And we're going to get right to it. Ewing, good morning. How you doing? Great 3 words. Let's go Flyers. K1, you'll be happy to know. We've confirmed last night. Bill Matz will be on at 9 a.m. on Thursday. Give him a little bit more time so he doesn't sleep in and miss the time. So we will have Bill Matz talking Flyers on Thursday now. Top of the morning, that's 4 words. Not 3 words, just so you know. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? CM Punk out of Mania. Yeah, I'm so pissed off. One of the people I wanted to see Punk versus Rollins. I really did. CM Punk really hurt his JoJo. He hurt something. CM Punk out of WrestleMania. Yeah, we're seeing the same thing twice there. Phillies, please do something. I mean, that's really close to what I wrote down as one of my things for the Phillies. The Phillies are one of the few teams I wrote multiple things down, and I just said, "Are they done? They need to do something." The Yeah, the Phillies are we're less than 2 weeks till first practice. Well, we're about 2 weeks. It's the 14th is first pitchers and catchers. And I don't know if there's anything more entertaining than that first video from the first practice. 5, 6, 7 pitchers lined up throwing to catchers near the pop of the glove. My excitement with baseball season comes in about 5 or 6 days. They'll load up the equipment truck to Clearwater, and they'll send the equipment truck down with all the different things. I love that. That's like the official start to training camp for me for spring training in baseball. So I cannot wait. Adam saying Flyers on the rise. See, I've got different words for the Flyers. Different words. And they're not on the rise, just so you know. Brett, on the 88 Sixers, keep JoJo healthy. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, he missed again last night. While we were sleeping, they got smoked by the Portland Trail Blazers, 130 to 104. And Joe missed a game again last night. Now he's down to only 5 more games he can miss the rest of the season to qualify for the MVP, which I think it's a stupid rule. It's especially stupid that the first year it's in place is a JoJo MVP season. Carter freaking Hart. Can we put like a question mark after that one? Was that counting the 3 words or less? The question mark. I don't know what's going on with Carter Hart. I don't know what's happening. They still have not released any more information, I don't think, unless I missed it. Carter Hart might be. Maybe we should have traded him when his was at the highest a year or two, K1. I was not on board with the people that said trade Carter Hart back in the day, but maybe we should have. Oh well. Eagles, maybe good again. Dude, I don't know if you guys saw. The Eagles signed Seattle defensive coordinator Clint Hurt to be our defensive line coach yesterday. That dude is a truck, a house. Hey, I actually, the first time I saw a picture of him yesterday with the breaking news, I thought it was Photoshopped or edited. There was no way. I'm like, that dude's that like thick and house-like built. Man, that guy is intense looking. I want to see Clint Hurt, even though he's 45, line up opposite of Jordan Mailata and show and teach him technique to defensive linemen. Because I think he could still probably bulldoze Jordan Mailata. That's how big he is. Marshawn saying Joel really hurt. He's hurt. Now, I don't buy into the ducking Jokic thing. I don't. I buy into the fact that they're being extra cautious in the middle of the season with the Sixers and with Joel Embiid's health. If his knee was even slightly banged up, better to rest him now than risk anything for the playoffs. You're in the middle part of the season. You know, you're going to be the 2 or 3 seed. What's the point? You know, give him his rest. The only reason why you push him is if you really want him to get the back-to-back MVP. Sixers round 2. It's all that matters, really, at this point, right, Adam? Is can the Sixers get past the second round of the playoffs? That's all. That is the only thing that matters. And, you know, it's not what I have written down for the Sixers. But we're going to get into some of my thoughts in a minute here. We really got smoked bad last night. Tobias, once again, Tobias is coming off a really, really bad flu. Probably should have sat, but they saw how bad they were without Tobias, Tyreek, and Joel the game before. That well, actually, they pushed the Nuggets, but they really needed him, so he gave it a go. I'm not going to crush Tobias for last night. I think he was really banged up. Look, the Sixers. You know, I see Brett's next comment on the Sixers. Make a trade. It's a fair thing. It's close to what I have written down with the Sixers. Not good enough. Because right now the Sixers aren't good enough as constructed. They need more. When Tyrese and Joel are not there, they're a much different team. Now, we had Scotty on last week, and we talked a lot of different possible trade targets and whatnot. The trade deadline's right around Valentine's Day every year, so it's probably about 2 weeks away. The Sixers need to really, really consider bolstering their bench, bolstering their lineup a little bit here, and maybe not just one big move, multiple moves to bring in players. Right now, most of the players on this Sixers team are very repetitive. Joe's really hurt. Yeah, he's really banged up in my opinion. I really think so. Phillies win the division. So I wrote down for the Phillies, are they done? And pitchers and catchers. Because they better not be done. Dave Dombrowski better not be done. You know, a couple days ago, Hector Neris signed. I forget. I think it was the Cubs signed him to a 1-year, $9 million deal. We need bullpen help. We do. We're gonna have some Philly shows in the coming weeks, getting set for the season. We're gonna talk Kyle Schwarber or Trey Turner in the leadoff spot. A lot of things, but are they done? That's the only way they win the division if they're not done. Pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks, so you know we've got that looking forward to. Clint Hurt did Clint Hurt get brought in just in case Dom gets kicked off the sideline again? Man, that boy, that man. I looked at. I got his. I wanted to see what the ranks of his defense with Seattle was. I mean, he's been a defensive line coach most of his career. A few years as a linebacker coach. He's been an assistant head coach but he was the DC of Seattle Seahawks the last 2 years. They didn't have greatly ranked defenses, but the teams overall were pretty good. The defensive line play was pretty solid. The guy is just a beast. He's a truck. He's a Mack truck, literally. And like I said, I am not lying. I thought it was a photoshopped image. I know you guys know the image of him standing on the sideline. It's just big. Like, I thought it was a fake picture. I will not lie. I had a Google search to see. Put Clint Hurt in for run defense. You know, he's a defensive line specialist. Everything I've read about him, he's a perfect fit for our 2-3 young defensive linemen. Ajomo. I'm going to throw Ajomo in there with Card and Davis. Because Ajomo will have a big role if we move on from Milton Williams or Fletcher Cox next year. So Clint Hurt hopefully can get Jordan Davis to his peak level. We're going to see. But, man, he is just a big, big man. Deja vu once again. I kind of feel like we can have this conversation. We can use these 3 words for a lot of the teams in Philadelphia. You can't see me. I see right here on the other side. You are not John Cena. John Cena's watching this show. We just can't see him. If anyone who can understand what Jordan Davis is going through, it's Clint Hurt. They both are enormous. Hopefully he can manage his fatigue issues. Yeah, mister. I mean, when I saw Clint Hurt, yeah, I got excited about the image and the picture, and I just thought of jokes galore about him. But then when I read who he is and what his history is as a teacher and what his history is as a coach, I'm like, Jordan Davis. Like, my mind didn't go to Jalen Carter. My mind went right to Jordan Davis. This is the type of hire. This is someone you bring on your staff, Vic Fangio, to help somebody like Jordan Davis who's got this high ceiling, but he is stuck in the mud at the very bottom of the ladder. And he needs to help push Jordan Davis up that ladder to his ceiling. Just saying. 5th seed incoming. For who, Marshawn? For the Sixers? You honestly think the Sixers are going to fall to the 5th seed? Or are you talking about another team in Philadelphia? Because I don't even know where. I haven't looked at the NBA standings in a while. Yeah, they're still in the 3 seed. Well, they're tied with the Knicks for the 3 seed. And they're only half a game above the 5th seed. Wow. Those other teams, the Knicks are on a 7-game winning streak. Holy crap. I did not know that. All right. So maybe that's the Sixers talk coming through right there. Maxey. 3 words to describe Maxey or less. Love that kid. I like that. We're supposed to be talking about the teams. So maybe describe the players in Philadelphia in 3 words or less will be tomorrow's topic. Try to mix it. I think this is a topic that could be stretched over the course of a couple of days here. So we're going to give it Phil on golf. Gamble all money. Hey, Fairway to Heaven tonight, 9 p.m. Right where you're watching this, the best fantasy and gambling golf show with myself and Jason Sullivan. We will be live tonight, 9 p.m. Phil Tehran, please come back. Tyrell Hatton to live. That's official. No surprise. Is rest going to make Joel healthy, or does he need surgery? I don't think so. I haven't heard any. You're the first person I've ever heard the words Joel and surgery from in the last couple days. And if he needs surgery, we're in big trouble. If he's out for a stretch, the 5th seed is definitely in play. The 6th seed is in play. We go as Joel goes. There's no argument there. There's no argument against Joel is the most valuable player in the NBA because I don't think there's a player that affects their team winning and losing as much as Joel does. Like, if you're not going to go on stats, just win, loss, and effect, there's no reason Joel is not the MVP because, I mean, we go with the way he goes. After that frustrating Eagles season, I'm looking forward to some good Phillies baseball. So am I. I'm looking to be able to talk about the Phillies every day on this show, even if just briefly. I'm hopeful that this team is competitive. I mean, the team is still competitive, but I still think they're missing some pitching pieces. I'm still thinking they're missing some bench pieces. I'm concerned that Dave Dombrowski hasn't done enough. The NL is winnable. Maybe not the division, but the league is winnable. A pennant is in their grasp. They need to add a little bit more. I think they're really hoping right now that Dave Dombrowski's hoping that some of the young guns like McGreary or Abel step up in spring training. Looking forward to baseball. That's 4 words. So I can't use that in today's thing. What is up, Eric? The Supreme Core 12. Supreme Core 12. That's 3 words right there. Sixers will be the 5th seed after this road trip. It's awesome. It's a tough road trip. I hate the West Coast trips, Marshawn. I really do. It's so hard when you got to get up early for this. I had the game on early, and I think it was like end of the first quarter when I fell asleep. Beginning of second quarter, there's no way I'm staying up that late. TMC, what's up, my man? How you doing today? Jordan Davis could be so impactful. I was hoping Carter line up next to would be a motivation he needed. So did I, Eric. Who is Davis? Like, what's his ceiling? Like, how dominant if he can be healthy, and I don't mean by injuries, I mean by endurance healthy. Can Jordan Davis be a Pro Bowler? Can he be an All-Pro? I think if he could play 60% of the snaps and get his conditioning to that point for an entire season, the first 3-4 weeks of the year, we were talking about how great Jordan Davis was playing. That new Jordan Davis was here. 1 year more mature Jordan Davis. Then he just hit a brick wall. He got out of shape. So we're hoping Clint Hurt, the hiring of him, is to work directly with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, because Jalen Carter dropped off till the end of the season. What happened to Maxey? He's been out now, 2-3 games in a row? I mean, not much has been said about him. There was a chance he was going to play last night, and he didn't. So he's close. I'd be more concerned with Anthony Melton and his back issue still being out. Robert Covington still being out. They have been long absences from this lineup, and we were feeling it. I'm not a D'Anthony Melton super fan anymore, like I was, and I thought he was going to be this huge player, but he's still extremely valuable to this team. Robert Covington on our bench is supposed to be a key thing in this trade that we made for James Harden. So there are some concerns with a lot of the injuries piling up on the Sixers team. Joel needs a backup like Drummond back. He needs a backup that could start when he's not. I say that, and then the other night, Paul Reed goes up and drops 30 on Jokic. So, maybe Paul Reed is still the guy. I don't know. I'm just not. 3 words for the Eagles: draft linebackers, linebacker now. I'm just going to add an S and say linebackers now because we need more than one. My concern is still from that Howie Roseman press conference that they still seem to have a lot of faith in Nakobe Dean. And maybe I'm brushing Nakobe Dean off too quickly. Maybe. That's my thing. But you got to have a better backup plan if he's not the real deal than Nicholas Morrow and midseason Shaq Leonard. It's got to be better than that. Joel's fine against the Pacers. He tweaked his knee during the play and re-aggravated. Yeah, he's been tweaking a lot this year. He hasn't had one of those major injuries that you think is going to make him miss a month, but he's been tweaking his knee, tweaking his back, tweaking things all year long. Look, I'm not worried about the MVP. I want 100% Joel Embiid in the playoffs. So I'm not worried about Joel missing a few games now. I'm not worried if the 3 seed, the 4 seed. I'd prefer the 4 seed than the 5 seed, but whatever. Phillies 3 words. Don't start slow. That is the epitome of the Phillies, isn't it? Those slow starts. I'm going to write that one down. We'll mention this to Renee when she joins us. And again, anybody jumping in right now, Renee Washington will be joining us at the top of the hour, 9 a.m. To talk Union, Phillies, whatever else she wants to talk about. The slow starts. I mean, I always fall trapped to criticizing them. I'm going to try to make an effort to not criticize the Phillies for a slow start in April or May. I'm going to try. I cannot guarantee it that it'll work, but I'm going to try not to be overly critical of the slow start because now 2 years in a row, we've made deep runs in the playoffs after slow start. So everyone's saying the Rumble stunk. The Rumble did sting. Baseball season doesn't start for 3 months. Well, based off of the Phillies, it doesn't start till June. So what's that? February, March, April, May. It's 6 months till the Phillies season actually counts, according to people. Clint Hurt has been coaching in Seattle for the past 7 years. I think Laurie had to offer him a good contract to uproot his family. He has a good record and plenty of coaching offers. Yeah, it shows that they really wanted this guy. Mister, and I think you make a great point. He has been I have his career timeline up here. He has been in Seattle since 2017, defensive line assistant head coach. Was with the Bears a few years before that, then college football before that. That's his coaching. Um, yeah, they wanted this guy, and they went out and got him. The click glove? Yeah, is that what this is? A little tendonitis, probably. Hopefully, that's all it is. It's actually feeling a lot better today, but I figured I'd wear it one more day. I've been wearing this thing nonstop for like 36, 48 hours. It's getting kind of annoying, but it's starting to feel better. Just don't want to tweak it too much. NFL logo conspiracy theorists, go touch grass. Yeah, I'm sure there's a way to, find it. I'm sure there's a way to, find a way that the theory still works. Hamilton is a good safety. Yeah, we should have had him over Jordan Davis, but we got Jordan Davis, so we've got to find a way to maximize Jordan Davis. Let's make the mistake of Davis over Hamilton more palatable by going out and hiring Clint Hurt, paying him a boatload of money to uproot his family, like Mista said, and come here to Philly. And let's get the most out of Jordan Davis. I think that is the key. Maxey has a left ankle sprain, but he's close. He's close to coming back. Can Morey even trade Melton and Cove if they're hurt? I guess they pass. Yeah, I don't know if they could. You'd have to get them back and get them to pass physicals and whatnot. So I don't know. They're going to have to make moves to Sixers. They are. And we're going to mix more Sixers talk in the coming days here as we kind of get into the football offseason. I know the Senior Bowl's going on. We got Shane Haff coming on Friday. We'll get the coaching talk with him. We'll talk free agent. We're gonna try to run through a lot with Shane Haff later this week. But maybe I'll get some of his Senior Bowl thoughts too. My vision was for Davis and Carter to be like a poor man's Reggie White, Jerome Brown. I know a lot of people mentioned that in the offseason after we drafted Carter, Eric. We may have even made that comment on this show a few times. I don't know. I think that's lofty expectations to put those kind of names next to two young kids, and maybe that was our problem. Paul Reed just plays great versus Joker and Giannis. Yeah, I guess it rises to the level of the competition. But B-Ball Paul is a perfect backup to Joel when Joel plays. 10 minutes of energy and hustle from him. But 30 minutes, it's tough to expect a lot from him because that's not who he is. Dan Campbell, 3 words or less. Take the points. That's right. That's right. I like those 3 words. Our perception of Davis and Carter are skewed by the fact that we had a bad linebacker core and schizophrenic pair of DCs. It's true. I think it's a great point, K1. If Jonathan, let's just put it this way. If Jonathan Gannon was still our defensive coordinator last year or this past season, would have Carter and Davis been better? Maybe. If we had Nakobe Dean at average level all year long instead of the rotation that we had, would they have been better? Bad linebacker play affects the cornerbacks, affects the safeties, affects the defensive line. A defense has to be a unit and work together. And when 1 or 2 units, linebacker, safety, cornerback, is a lot lesser, it's going to make the defensive line look worse than they are. So maybe there's some perception issues there. A wise man once said, is better for a man to tweak than to work. I don't know who that wise man was, Eric, but it's kind of funny. They will be great. Who? Davis and Carter? I don't know if great is what I'm using anymore. We are going to get Renee takes. We are. And I guess you don't know how to spell Renee. It's pretty easy, just so you know. Phillies, new victory song. I agree. I have not worn my dancing on my own shirt since the end of the playoffs. And I don't think I will. You'll never see me wearing dancing on my own on this show again. We need new. We need new song. Dancing on your own, it's got to be out. Out with the old. You can trade injured players. Teams just have to waive if they are injured. It's the way how the Bulls want to trade ball for yeah, I got you. You can trade contract words. Eagles, Sirianni, not good. Wow. The first real negative 3-word description on this show. I see Jason's comment, and we're going to get to that in a second, but I want to use Jason's comment for this. Sirianni, 3 words or less, clap your hands, because that's what he is. He's just a clapper now. And my man, Jason Flea, good morning, my man. Clap your hands. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want a new Sixers song. I don't. The only song that's safe is "Fly, Eagles, Fly." That could be a description of the Eagles, 3 words or less. Fly, Eagles, fly, or one. Clap your hands. I don't know. I it's kind of like these songs for the Phillies and the Sixers. I mean, I know the crowd gets into it and loves singing along and doing all this stuff and really gets you connected to the team. But have the Sixers won with their song? Have the Phillies won a World Series with Dancing on Your Own? No. Time to move on. Let's find something new to connect everybody. I was watching clips of AEW and a guy said I don't get all the hype from the last 2 years. Yeah. It's like watching a highly produced indie show, basically. They don't have to fight, but if I could just see Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill stand in front of each other for 5 minutes, that would be awesome. They are 2 behemoth of a women. They are 2 strong, powerful women. Phil sprained his hand practicing on. Yeah, stop. Do not encourage L.A. Knight. Yeah. Phillies early take. Everyone, calm down. I'm not promising. I'm going to try very hard to not overreact in April. Now, I can't guarantee I won't overreact in May, but in April, if they start 2-5 or 3-7, I'm going to try to take your advice here. Everyone calm down. Because I am the biggest culprit of the overreacting to the Phillies early in the season. Knowing full well that this team, dating back to the 90s, well, the 90s, they had slow starts and slow finishes too. But, the 08 to 11 squad always started slow. It's a recurring thing. Kyle Schwarber. I'm going to try not to overreact to Kyle Schwarber's, offers. I'm going to try not to overreact when Nick Castellanos, goes on a 3-week cold spell. I definitely won't overreact to an Alco Mara at third base. I do not mind admitting I've made mistakes constantly overreacting to the Phillies these last couple years. Melissa, relax, embrace the script. What is up, Zeke? I saw your comment in the replay the other day, just so you know. Good morning, Phil. I like the moves already. I'm sure big lessons were learned. We need linebackers. Got to run the ball with purpose and upgrades to secondary for sure. Kelce will be back. There's 3 words to describe the Eagles. Like the whole offseason is waiting for these 3 words to be answered for the Eagles fans. Will Kelce return? And it sounds like he's not sure yet. The early report that he was retiring, I don't think it's set in stone yet. I don't. And he definitely said that no matter what, he wants to stay a part of the organization. So maybe he becomes a coach, an assistant coach at least. I don't know. Do football teams do it baseball? Like in baseball, you see special instructors. Like Larry Bow is always there. Charlie Manuel always comes around. And Mike Schmidt's on the field helping. Like they always get their former coaches and players, to come and help assist during training camp. Do the Eagles do that? Because Kelce could be there a lot during training camp helping train Cam Jurgens in that center role if he's the guy. Guys, the jokes. Only old wrestlers in AEW are Edge and Jericho and Sting. I won't fanboy and list off the names, but there's quality. I just don't. Their production, it's just like a super indie show. The storytelling is very meh. It's just banger after. If you just want to watch wrestling matches, AEW's for you. But the psychology is just not there in the company. Stop. Don't even bring that into the equation. Phillies, sign pitchers now. Yeah. I agree. Especially relief pitchers. You stop that. Bad field classy guys like us play the piano. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I'm a pianist. That's the cleanest way I can say it. Sonata for solo. Yeah, no. Um, who's your GOAT wrestler, Chad? Oh my god. Why are we talking GOAT wrestlers? I guess you don't like my 3 words or less thing. I haven't even said, you know, what I think of some of these teams. We'll get to that in at some point here. Connor Barwin has a role in the staff, right? He does actually. I think it's an all-year role for sure. What's Renee's? You want me to ask her about mobster flicks? Okay. If there's time, I may ask her about that. Yes, the Eagles do it. Many old players stay on in some form of capacity. Darren Sproles. I've heard of the Connor Barwin has a regular role, not just a training camp role. I don't even need Kelce here all year. He can have some kind of an advisor role in the front office and then be in camp and be in some of the OTAs to help some of the young guys. You telling me if Jason Kelce shows up to 8 OTAs, all the young guys wouldn't look up to him? I think it would be smart if he does retire. Uh, it's literally what's wrong with my wrist. Friday was so busy. I screwed up what's a lifelong battling injury with my wrist. It's why I do not play the piano anymore. Great wrestler, Heartbreak Kid. I would have to think. I don't know who's on my Mount Rushmore. I mean, he could be on it. Rock Austin, Hogan, Jericho. Yes, I put Jericho. I know he's a controversial name right now, but his body of work is there. Andre, maybe just because of what he meant. Mount Rushmore isn't just what they did, on the field or in the ring. It's the whole package. And just having Kelce around the team would definitely be a plus. I agree. I agree. She's a movie buff. Ask her anything. I know she's a very, very. I watch all her Philly shows with Jamie over on PHLY Sports. I'm trying to watch some of the Union stuff. Plus, Parcero's my boy. So I always try to support them. I'm just not a huge Union guy. I did write down 3 words for the Union to describe the Philadelphia Union in 3 words or less. Apple TV sucks. That is my 3 words on the Union, and we'll get her 3 words on the Union and the Phillies for sure when she joins the show. GOAT wrestlers, Savage, HBK. I find, and I know this is one of the most controversial takes you'll ever hear on this show, that Bret Hart would be on my Mount Rushmore of most overrated stars in the wrestling business. There. I said it. Crush me if you want. He is not the best there ever was, ever will be, and is. The NFL broke the script when the Ravens lost. Looks like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift went ahead and they had to do a mid-season rewrite. You have that happen sometimes. It's like when you cast a character, they run the pilot. They're like, we like the idea, but we like this person better. Let's rewrite the show. They rewrote the script mid-season to get Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. Apple, own you. Apple, own you. Jericho looks like the cool fat dad that's always wants to hang out. Yeah, his physique. I mean, the dude's been wrestling. I remember watching a Jericho match in like '95. Like, he's been around a long time. He is not no young spring chicken. I think he still puts on bangers every single night. He's got his Jericho cruise going on right now. There's just some controversial issues with him floating around. 2 words. Yeah, that's right. Marshawn, yeah, that's right. Where you can be overrated and great too. Huh. Interesting. Can you be overrated and great at the same time? I got to write that down. I'm going to put that out there on Twitter. Overrated and great same time. I'm gonna ask very generally on Twitter if that is possible after this show. Just so you know. I'm waiting I got a dentist appointment after this show. So, while I'm waiting, I gotta go check that out. Razor Ramon, Macho Man, Jake the Snake, Mr. Perfect. Kurt Angle does not get his flowers for how great he was, because most people don't know his TNA run and how amazing his TNA run was. Just gonna say, that's the second time I've heard you say Brett is overrated. And man, I must talk more wrestling than I think on this show. I don't think he is, but I never liked him since yeah. I think he's overrated. Sorry. I like the underrated greats. Okay. You think the Kelce Swift thing is part of the NFL having them together just to get ratings up? I think they are a legit couple. I think they're cute. I have no problem with the Taylor Swift stuff. No problem whatsoever. It doesn't bother me at all. It definitely is ratings. There's definitely money being made with this involvement. What I thought started as a joke has turned into possibly a real relationship. I'm a body language person. And when you saw the body language of the two of them on the field, either they are Oscar nominated actors or they really truly are in love, which is if they are, that's great. Why do I gotta talk so much Taylor Swift on this show? If Taylor Swift is performing on the Super Bowl halftime show, I'm gonna throw she is not performing. It's Usher. Um, but yeah. Jericho got banged up by MVP on his last cruise. I read something about that. Mitchie Poo, the honorary member of the show today, because this is his topic that I stole. I tweaked it a little bit, and we're going to run it again tomorrow in a different sense. And your answer to 3 words or less fits tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to do describe a Philadelphia athlete in 3 words or less. And Tobias Harris sucks. Would fit in that category. He's sick, isn't it? It's okay. Haven't you ever called out of work sick? This man showed up to work sick and worked last night. Owen was my favorite Hart as well. I still remember watching that pay-per-view and what it cut out, man. Ugh, what a devastating moment for an older teenage boy. I mean, that was just killer. Usher's doing the halftime show, but everyone's still going to be talking about Tay Tay. Yeah. Do you think Kelce calls her Tay Tay? Hey Tay Tay, what's up? How was your show tonight? You looked great up there tonight, Tay Tay. You think Trav? I bet she calls him Trav. And does he call her Tay Tay? Last 6 games of the Eagles' schedule was the gauntlet. Yeah. I know you're meaning that as a joke, but do we take that into account at all? That the schedule, the teams, all that stuff played a factor. That this Eagles season's end was just that they were gassed. Yeah, they weren't talented enough, they weren't well enough coached, but they were gassed from the gauntlet. I know you're trying to joke with that there, but is there still not enough talk about that? That now that they're not the Super Bowl, the NFC defending champs or whatever, that they're going to have a slightly easier schedule. I have to look into that. Maybe we'll bring that up later this week. The Eagles' schedule. Um, the schedule's not released, but the teams are. They might not have as many primetime games, so something to take into account. Perk Angle almost single-handedly gave McMahon a nervous breakdown. Main event Mafia. Angle versus Joe. Team Angle. I mean, TNA Angle was he was doing a lot of damage to himself, but it was prime entertainment. Mitchie Poo, you're welcome. Make sure you guys follow Mitchie Poo's Hardcore Sports and Edge of Philly. This show is dedicated to him, his idea. Just so you know, my man Mitchie Poo. So give him some credit. Swifty will be flying back from her Japan concert. Absolutely, she's got 16 hours to make a 13-hour flight. So she's good. She'll be there. Who's this D-line coach? He's a big guy. Is he a good choice? Ezekiel Elliott. I want to call you Ezekiel Elliott whenever I see your name. Ezekiel Major. Yes. Clint Hurt is a good choice. Mista made a great point earlier in the show, and I think it's great to repeat it. He's been in Seattle for 7 years. He's got family there. I mean, he's got to uproot his family and his life to move across the country. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are heavy investments in this team, Zeke. And you want to be able to maximize them as much as you can. Going out and getting a great defensive line coach, who was an okay coordinator, but great defensive line coach for a long time, is a great way to invest in your defensive lineman. You got to give your investments the opportunity to pay off. You got to give Jalen Hurts the weapons. You got to give him a coordinator that can call the right plays. You got to give Davis and Carter a coach that's going to maximize their talents. So I think it's a fantastic hire, and he is a Mack truck. I mean, again, I said in the beginning of the show, Zeke, that when I saw the first picture that he is coming to Philly, I thought it was a photoshopped image. I really thought it was a photoshopped image. No doubt about it. Turns out it wasn't a photoshopped image. He really does look like a Mack truck. So I like it. Make 1 p.m. games normal again. Absolutely agree. I might actually do watch parties for a 1 o'clock game. I'm not doing watch parties at night, but 1 o'clock games, maybe I do a watch party. Maybe. Sure. Let's have more 1 o'clock games. I will not watch Mitch because you won't give a link. I put link when I've shared so many. You want me to put links in every single thing? You look in the bio of this show, the description of this show. There are links for everything that are pertinent. I did not put Mitch's link in this show. Can't promote every other content creator on my show all the time. God, the description of this show would be 7 pages long if I described or shared every link. Google search. There's this thing called Google. Google me. We need more Google me. Hurts and Allen are very very good, but overrated. You know, and speaking of that, and I was going to save Brock Purdy talk for later, and we got a lot of talk about Brock Purdy on social media. So we will bring Brock Purdy up throughout the week and the week and a half till the Super Bowl. But man, did people get offended yesterday? I literally had to mute a post I made because one of the competitors, the other radio show in the morning on the radio, actually WIP, they made a post. Is Brock Purdy? I forget what they did. You know, a system quarterback or a good quarterback. And everybody's saying he's awful and system and he's overrated, whatnot. If you don't think Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, I don't know what's wrong with you. And we can get into this more later. Now, you want to debate if Brock Purdy's a great quarterback or not? Sure, we could debate that. But if you don't want to put the words good next to Brock Purdy's name, you're just being a hater. You're just showing homerism. You know, you're not good if you think Brock Purdy's, just good, not good. My favorite tag team wrestling group was the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, I like the Hardys. I like the Dudleys, Edge and Christian. Obviously, that era tag team wrestling was pretty elite. Um, yeah, there were some good tag teams back then too, though. Bret Hart is okay once in a while. I'm about personality. He was like, was there any difference between Bret Hart's charisma and Lance Storm? Let me be serious for a moment. No, there wasn't. Boring as can be. I need Howie to find a way to trade or sign a prime player on defense. Queen, Jahir. Yes. Yes, we need Howie to find. Do you want him to, Marshawn, here's the question. Do you want him to draft? What would you prefer? Him to draft a young elite linebacker or cornerback or safety in the first round? Or with like Kool-Aid McKinstry, that name is cool, so we're going to use it, Kool-Aid McKinstry, or Jeremiah Trotter Jr. because of the namesake. Would you prefer that, or would you prefer him to continue what he does, offense or defensive line, or a wide receiver in the first round, and then go out and go dump a boatload of cap space on Patrick Queen? Like, what would you prefer? And I think it's an interesting topic. Go get the established guy on defense and keep drafting the way you always do, or go get the next Kyle Hamilton, or go get the next Lito Shepherd or Jeremiah Trotter in the draft. I think there's a fine line there. I know. My man makes demands all the time. He wants me to give, and get nothing in return. That's all I could say. Fox's Pizza, best pizza. That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adam. And it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen as well. Address, phone number, all that good stuff. A good quarterback that thrives in Shanahan's system. Yeah, I think it's so crazy that people get so offended when I say Brock Purdy is definitely good. I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's a system, but he's a very good, solid QB. You could do so much worse. You could do Brock Purdy, or you could do Daniel Jones. I'm taking Brock Purdy 100 times. Phil's still recovering from the organ injury, TMC. Cut him some slack. Yeah, you want me to type more with it? You know how hard it is to type? You know how hard it was to preset this show up with this brace on my hand? Come on now. Purdy, just damn lucky. No, Adam, you're wrong. I like the bushwhackers, New Age Outlaws. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation X proudly brings to you their two-time WWF Tag Team Champions of the World, the Road Dogg, Jesse James, the Badass, Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. Did I get that right? I think I got it right. Yeah. McKinsky, his name is Kool-Aid McKistry. I thought it was I thought there was an N in it. I don't. That's not me mispronouncing it. That's me not knowing the guy's name because I don't. I'm just barely starting to look at some of these college kids, and I'm only doing it because I got Shane Half coming on Friday, and I don't want to sound like a complete and total idiot with Shane Half tomorrow on Friday. Um, People look at Brock Purdy like Marcus Bagwell instead of Puff Bagwell. Ah, oh man, Eric, that's classic. That is great. Brock is better than Jimmy, um, and Trey at least. Brock Purdy, and I said this to somebody on Twitter yesterday. Brock Purdy is a better version of Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the maximum perfect game manager. And you know what? You can win a Super Bowl with that. And you know what? Brock Purdy may damn well win a Super Bowl in 2 weeks. First and fourth rounder and Bradbury for Surtain. Yeah, you know who says no to that? The Denver Broncos. That's not enough. You would have to give a first and a second at a minimum draft compensation. At a minimum. What did Jalen Ramsey go for, Marshawn? I think it was 2 firsts and a second. I know that was years ago, and it didn't necessarily work out. But that's what you're looking at. You're looking at 2 firsts, maybe a first and a second, but probably 2 firsts. Would you give up this year's first and next year's first for Patrick Surtain? So I think it's a legit question, and it's one that I'm not totally convinced I wouldn't do, but we'll see. I was never impressed by Bret Hart. Well, I was very impressed by Ric Flair, without a doubt. Ric Flair is probably one of the 2 or 3 greatest of all time. But Bret Hart, never impressed. Making you not look like an idiot is core 12 objective. Thank you. I appreciate that. But by making me not look like an idiot, you make me look like an idiot. So thanks. You reverse psychology, make me look stupid. Von Erichs and the Armstrong family. Again, someone asked if I had seen Iron Claw. I was never a huge Von Erichs guy. The Armstrong family is an underrated family in wrestling for sure. Brock was lucky with the ball bouncing off the guy's face because he overthrew it. He's still a good quarterback. Hardy Boys, Edge, Christian Dudley's put on the greatest tag matches. I don't think any team has come close since. They've all tried, but they can't come close. Mr. Irrelevant knocking off the GOAT heir apparent is an excellent NFL script. Yeah, I think that's a great. I didn't think of the script there. That's something Vince McMahon would love. Great story. Most underrated wrestler I love for all time, Arn Anderson, the Enforcer. Yeah. Very underrated for sure. Renee is called. Stop. You don't even know how to spell her name. Stop. First and third got us AJ in the last year of his contract. Is Surtain in the last year of his contract? I'm surprised. I feel like he should still be. I guess he's been around long enough for that. I don't know. I don't think they do it. I don't think they do a first and a fourth for Patrick Surtain. I think it's a first and a second at a minimum. Because I think there's a lot of people that would take him and offer more. The Lions dropped 20 balls per the script. They did drop a lot. Great point, Marshawn. I think you're comparing apples to oranges. Wide receivers and quarterbacks different. You're also talking about different teams. The Titans team versus the Denver team. You're talking very different scenarios and stories. And the precedent, has a wide receiver been traded for what Jalen Ramsey got traded for in the past? No. Jalen Ramsey set the precedent what elite lockdown cornerback, if you want to trade for a young one, is going to cost. Now, A.J. Brown set the precedent of what a wide receiver would get traded for. Although, what did Devontae Adams get traded for? Equal or less or more? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't think it's the script. I think Josh Reynolds isn't very good. Yeah. Wide receivers cost 2 teams games, championship weekends. Josh Reynolds cost the Lions and Zay Flowers. Was it Zay Flowers? I forget now. But it cost the Ravens with that fumble into the end zone. Hate it. AA and Wyndham were my favorite horsemen. Well, Ric Flair was my favorite horseman. But, after that, yes, Arn Anderson for sure. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, that's right. The list of things Phil doesn't know is a long one. Hey, I never said I'm an expert. The one thing I will always say, K1, I am never the smartest person in the room. My job here hosting this show is to create conversation and to create topics and to create an environment where everyone can have their opinions heard. Unlike on the radio where your opinions mean jack crap, I've created a morning show where your opinions matter. I never claim to be the smartest man in the room. It's just not what I do. I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I just want to be me. So I'm not afraid to admit when I don't know the answer to a question. AJ was a pipe dream at one point. It's true. Patrick Surtain, he's a pipe dream right now. Doesn't mean it can't happen. But again, what would you rather do? Would you rather trade for Patrick Surtain, a sure thing, and screw up your draft capital for the next 2 years? Or would you rather, you know, draft some young stars that you can have financial stability with for a few years? Gibbs cost the Lions too. Yeah, he did. Arn had the best spine buster. Yeah, I mean, wasn't he like the not the inventor, but probably the one that made it famous? Minor or major scale, Big Philly. Phil being Phil is great content. That's all I am. I'm just here to set the pace. I give you guys a blank canvas and just ask you to do with it what you will. That's what makes great content. I don't need to be the smartest guy to create great content. I just gotta keep you guys hooked. And make sure you're hitting that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. We're about 8-10 minutes away from Renee Washington joining the program. So you don't want to miss it. In other news, Reynolds got $4 million extra in account today per the script. What? Stop. I'm going to be ignoring your comments when Renee Washington's on because I'm sure they're not going to make sense. A list of random wrestlers people forgot about. Ravishing Rick Rude, nobody forgot about him. Coco, a beware, nobody forgot about him. Mr. Wonderful, nobody forgot about him. And Dusty Rhodes, how could anybody forget about him? Because he's mentioned in every single Cody Rhodes feud, which is the most overplayed thing in the world. Paul Roman. Chris Benoit was a four horseman for a little while too. The DDT. Triple H always did the Arn style spine buster. Yeah, pick him up, spit around, drop him down. I would love in wrestling if an old school powerful move like a spine buster was used as a finisher again. It looks like a devastating move. It looks like it should put you down for the. But now we got all these extravagant, finishers that are useless. Just so you know, Renee is coming at 9 a.m. Doink the clown. Which version? Dusty is mentioned in AEW and WWE. It's brutal. I'm over it. I'm done with it. Brooklyn Brawler. Yeah, I remember the Brooklyn Brawler. The Ultimate Warrior. Overrated. Renee better not pull. Well, Bill is coming on Thursday now, 9 o'clock. It looks like I just got a DM from somebody else I was trying to work with. Trying to get Luke I don't even know Arcani. He does Phillies and gambling stuff for Fox the Gambler. It looks like I asked him to come on this week. It looks like he's going to come on tomorrow morning to start the show. We are going to start with some baseball talk tomorrow. It looks like. So Luke from the Gambler will be on here live, remote in studio. We are lining up the guests and knocking them out this week. I needed a break from talking the whole time. Hangman used a lariat as a finish with the buckshot lariat. Yeah, it's extravagant. It's an I'll take the clothesline from hell from JBL any day. Ooses. Philadelphia looking like the Flyers these days. Show. The Flyers have not been good. I wrote down so that back to the main topic. Describe your Philly sports teams in 3 words or less. I wrote these 3 words down for the Flyers. Not there yet. And then I wrote 3 more down. Should be sellers. Not there yet. Should be sellers. No need to rush it with the Flyers. They're not winning the Stanley Cup. Can't be without my pen. They're not winning the Stanley Cup. So continue building for the future is what the Flyers. And yes, they've hit a brick wall. We're into the All-Star break now. I didn't even know it was the All-Star break, but I thought it was a perfect time to bring Bill Max back in the show Thursday for that. People rolling into dude. I get people. It's a little harder to find guests now because You can't DM anybody anymore on Twitter, but yeah. Clotheslines from hell looked like it really hurt. Yeah, absolutely. The buckshot lariat looks like it hurts. I just don't need the flip over the rope thing. Like, stupid. It really is. Too extravagant for me. Running back and forth on the ring before an elbow drop. That's nothing. Yeah, I know. 3 words for the Flyers. Neat the rest. I think that's a fair 3 words for the Flyers. Real quick before Renee joins us here in a few minutes, I want to write down I read off what I wrote down for all these teams. So again, the Flyers I wrote down not there yet and should be sellers. I already said it. The Union, my 3 words for the Union are Apple TV sucks. My Sixers words, championship or bust. And then I wrote down not good enough. Phillies, I wrote down, are they done? Meaning spring training and stuff like that, or building their team, and pitchers and catchers because it starts. And the Eagles, I wrote down only 2 words for the Eagles. I wrote down 2 words for the Eagles to describe them. Less concerned. I'm feeling as the days go on a little less concerned. Undertaker got up from the DDT. Have you ever been put in a figure 4 lock? That's the only submission move I'm tapping out to. I've never been in. I've put people in it before, though. RKO, one of the best finishers. Yes, it is. Mike Rotundo clothesline was almost as exciting as HBA super kick for sure. Morgan Frost and Scott Lawton are mentioned in our trade room. I'm okay with the Flyers making trades. If you're not part of the future of this team in 3 years, you could be moved for something positive for this team in 3 years. I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. I see this comment. Goalie is a problem. It is. And we're going to talk about the goalie problem, Big Al, with Bill Matz on Thursday, not just because of the Carter Hart situation, but because of the fact that we don't have a legit goalie now, it seems like. All sports equal. All refs suck. I love that, Adam. I love it. The refs, man, I would not want to be a referee in sports right now. I wouldn't. Most false tough guy. He might be fake tough. Depends on who's doing it. Yeah, exactly. The finisher off the turnbuckle did more damage. Yeah. Any other comments here? Eagles drama-filled TV. Like literally, the Eagles drama, Marshawn. This show trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button. It is like an all-encompassing Philadelphia sports talk show. But we legitly could have this show be strictly Eagles every day, 5 days a week, all year long, and not run out of things to say because of those 3 words. It's drama-filled TV. Everyone always I know I'm not the biggest WIP supporter, but everyone crushes them because all they do is talk Eagles all the time. Well, it's playing the greatest hits. The Eagles are the greatest hits. No offense to the Union. I want to watch more Union. I want to talk more Union. But Union doesn't put butts in the seats. What's the old saying? Sex sells? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what sells in a movie. Eagles sell. It's drama-filled TV. 3 words for the Philadelphia Wings. Really cheap tickets. I think my man Adam was there on Saturday. Because, yes, really cheap tickets. You can go take a family of 4 to a Wings game a hell of a lot cheaper than one person can go to a Sixers game. It's just a clear fact. You could probably get tickets for free some places. Eagles. Hurts, AJ, Smitty. That should be good enough. I like those 3 words. Hurts, AJ, Smitty. Huh. Interesting. I like that. I like those 3 words right there. I really do. I think that works there for 3 words. Took my son to that game. Tickets were cheaper than parking. It's so funny. It doesn't matter what sporting event you go to. You're still going to get crushed. Crushed for parking at every stadium you go to anywhere. It's kind of annoying, to be honest with you. They are cheap. Had 4th row tickets to the Wings for $17. Man, I see one here. Here's a 3 word. A Sixers 3 word. And this is very interesting because I know he's going to be a topic in the offseason for the Sixers. But Golden State's struggling right now. They're not the elite Golden State Warriors, and they really honestly haven't been for a while. What would it cost for Klay Thompson to the Sixers? What would it take to break up that Splash Brother combo? Would you do it knowing he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season? I know you own his rights and stuff and you can match deals, whatever and stuff. But are you willing? And is Klay Thompson the kind of guy? We need another sniper. We need another shooter. We need somebody that could score, get up 3-point shots. Is Klay Thompson an option on the table for this? Mitchie Poo coming in fire with this comment here. I know he's a topic for the offseason. I've already seen Sixers fans and Sixers content creators talk about Klay Thompson next year on the Sixers. Why not go out and get him right now? I think it's an interesting topic. What would it cost to get him? That is the big question. And are you willing to get it? Klay Thompson's going to make more than 15 to 18 million next year. It's got to. The way that's like pretty much bare minimum contract right now. I don't care about the age. I don't. Not at all right now. I'm worried about this year and next year and having a chance to win a title. That's what I care about. Those PHLY people, they're always late. They're late for their own day. Klay turns 34. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about his age. Not in the least bit. I think Klay Thompson, you move to Anthony Melton if he ever comes back to the bench where he belongs. It's a great guy. He can ball handle to an extent. Put him opposite of Maxey. Him out there for kickouts from Joel Embiid. I'm kind of like intrigued by this. Steph Curry is the only untouchable in Golden State. Absolutely agree with you on that. No doubt about it. But would Klay Thompson or would Steph Curry sign off? Like if you're going to trade Klay Thompson away from Golden State, Steph Curry has to sign off on it. There's no doubt about it. You just can't, you just can't move on from it. I just got a message. Renee will be here in moments. Don't worry. I know you're all patiently waiting for her. Got to take advantage of the Warriors right now. They could be bought right now. You could make a case. I'm intrigued by this. I really am. Really, really intrigued by this one. This has got me thinking, Mitchie Poo. It does. Klay can't play defense. That's fine. So playing next to Maxey means teams like Bucks and Celtics will blow by them both. That's fair. But what have we lost in the playoffs for the last couple of years, Brett? Because we didn't have enough offense. Because we couldn't score. We couldn't score in crunch time. We didn't have a guy that could step up and make buckets. James Harden, Joel Embiid coming up small in those playoffs. Klay Thompson's a guy that's won multiple titles. Yeah, he's got injuries and age, but all right, we're gonna pause here. Joining me on the I Have No Sponsor hotline, my special guest this morning, the great from Philadelphia sports Union and Phillies team, Renee Washington. Good morning, Renee. Thanks for waking up this morning with me.
Yeah, good morning. Sorry about that. I was late from the gym and it just backpedaled from there. But I'm happy to be here. Glad that you had time to have me on, and love what you're doing. Happy to
Thank
be
you
here.
very much. I'm really, really honored. I love the work that you guys are doing with your Union and Phillies teams specifically. I try not to miss a single episode that you and Jamie do on the Phillies.
Oh,
Everybody, we talk so much Eagles on this show every morning that when baseball season's getting close, I just can't wait to talk baseball sometimes. And everyone's like, "Oh, you're a Phillies fan?" I'm like, "I am a Phillies fan." I mean, that's really the true love right there.
yeah. Yeah. No, first of all, thank you. That means a lot. And also it's time for baseball. We've all in this city talked a lot about the Eagles. I know you were talking about it. You've been talking about it. We all have. Thankfully, the Sixers have been doing well. The Flyers have been doing well, minus whatever's everything else going on outside of the rink and off the ice. But it's time for baseball to come back. The Union are getting started as well. So it's an exciting time. I love this overlap season. I'm sure
I
you
do
agree.
too. And you mentioned the Union. I want to start there because I know that's your bread and butter, the Union. And you and I find it so hard to call him JP because I know him by Parcero so much. And I've known him for so long. So you and JP doing a great job there. So today's show was kind of a little fun topic to start. It's like describe your Phillies team, your Philadelphia team in 3 words or less. So if you had to describe the Union, and their season's about 3-4 weeks away from starting, if you had to describe the Union in 3 words or less as they about to embark on this season, what would it be?
I saw you tweet that out, and I should have been prepared, and I'm not. But I would say for the Union, it's gotta be something with pay in it, like, pay more money.
Okay.
I mean, I love the fact that we've been seeing a lot of depth pieces and young
Mhm.
pieces getting signed. I think it's great for the fact that this team needs some fresh legs. They've obviously run into, especially last year with the amount of games they played, needing more players. But at the end of the day, when you see all the signings that are happening around the MLS,
Mhm.
you're seeing Barcelona basically in Miami, LAFC is making a lot of noise. Like
Mhm.
major clubs are adding major players. So the around the edges depth pieces are great, but still waiting for that one piece. And I think unfortunately we're going to have to wait, depending on what happens with Daniel Gazdag and Julian Carranza and the different talents that are leading this club. That's kind of, I feel like, the next domino. But pay more money.
Yeah, you know what? We'll get back to the Union. It's funny because my 3 words were actually a money thing too. For the Union, it's Apple TV sucks. That was my 3 words
Oh,
because one of my platforms is I refuse to pay for 9 different subscription services to watch 9 different sports teams, and I was really trying really hard over the last 5 to 10 years to get into the Union, to really build up, and I was right there. Like I could
yeah.
actually name Union, I could talk soccer, and then they go and put it on Apple TV, and it stands against everything that I've said to pay for it. So I watched no Union last year, and it kind of
Oh
killed all the
no.
momentum I had with this team. And I know I'm not the only person that feels that way.
Yeah, and that's been the frustrating part because the Apple TV deal was meant to help expand the coverage and the reach, but it takes away from the local reach, not being
Mhm.
able, and I've been on the local shows, not being able to catch, PHL 17 or,
Mhm.
the local broadcasts takes away from it and it makes it more difficult. I know I actually resorted back to cable. I had gotten rid of cable because I was like, there's no point. Everything's on a streaming app. But I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, I find myself, like you mentioned, having to go app to app to watch games. At this point, I might as well have everything in one spot. Oh, yeah, cable. But for Apple TV, I think the hard thing is outside of MLS games, what else do you get? And I
Exactly.
know for Peacock and the ESPN app and all these different apps, there's extra value, but
Mhm.
I'm interested to see what this season looks like because there's been a lot of people that have shared the same frustration of I want to watch, but I'm not paying. And I get that because
Okay.
I'm not, well, actually I am, but the
So you
internet
kind of
is
have to watch the games because you talk about it on a daily
yeah,
basis. So
there's a
that
finesse.
me, I could get by with bringing up the Union once a month on this show. You know what I mean? I could skate by on that. But back to the team. You're talking about spending money and bringing in these established players. Obviously, I know the Union fans were in uproar because of the was it Marcus Anderson? They brought him in
Yeah.
yesterday. Another younger guy. What is it? Why are the Union focused on these lesser pieces or these young pieces? Because let's be honest. I mean, they were in the MLS Cup. They were semifinals. Like they have been probably the most consistently great team in Philadelphia for the last 3 or 4 years, but yet it seems like they're not doing anything this offseason to put them over the top. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the Union have every season, and we've talked about this, JP and I on the show. Every season they're slow in the offseason. They're not the team they're late adopters in that sense. They're not the team that's going to go out and make big moves early. They kind of like to wait. I don't like that personally because I think now in this preseason period, it's a great time to get these guys acclimated to the team. And we've
Mhm.
seen in the past where it takes them a whole season to really settle in. But I feel like what we're noticing and the frustration is someone like a 20-year-old Marcus Anderson and everybody they signed that's been 19, 20. It's the common theme of we're going to develop them. They've got potential. We'll see what happens. And this is a team that just needs a piece now. And I know, ironically, it's the same thing with the Phillies. They're in a win now situation where this is not a rebuild. This is not a panic button moment, but this is where they're missing one or two pieces. Now, the Phillies are definitely much closer than the Union, but for the Union specifically, and I've talked about this, and actually I'm talk about it again today on our show, is where is that Trey Turner signing? Where is that Kelly Oubre deal or Even an AJ Brown. That would be extreme for the Union. They never do that. But we've seen other Philly teams that have brought in that big piece, whether it's a veteran, a starter. It doesn't even have to be go get someone that's going to score 35 goals this season. Bring somebody in that could be a starter or a 90-minute player and be ready now, experienced, and doesn't have to go through that development piece. Like someone like Luis Suarez with Miami. There's different names. We've seen Gareth Bale with LAFC that they bring them in for like a 1-year deal. That it's a player that can make an impact. It's a player that's already been established on the international soccer level versus these players that are just cracking into their respective national teams, just cracking in the first team. It's frustrating. But on the other side of it, the Union do need depth. This is a team that, as we saw as the last year wore on, you really didn't have solid midfield play. You didn't have, even in the front line, the depth of who's next. But I get apprehensive because it's like, yes, you need depth, but I don't know that these pieces are the depth. Like, you're bringing in all these guys with hopes of this is another attacker you're adding. Hopefully he can be someone that can get major minutes. Hopefully it's a lot of hopeful. It's a lot of potential. I live in the reality of what's guaranteed instead of what's a gamble. So it's about 4, 5, 6 players now that we've seen that are just projected and potential. And that's where the frustration lies. The Union need, honestly, even if it was an Ali Bedoya who's going to come in and he's going to be an off the bench piece, a leader, a veteran, they need those players that exactly what you're going to get from them.
Yeah. As constructed though, and you mentioned the Phillies and how they're missing maybe one more big piece as well. Mm-hmm. The Union, then we could transition to some more Phillies talk. Are they as constructed? You're mentioning a lot that they're missing potentially, but if they stay pat, maybe make a trade middle of the season or something like that, are they still good enough to at least be in the conversation of a contending team right now?
They should be, honestly. I mean, the hardest part with the Union is their offense. They're defensively locked down from Andre Blake all the way through their back four. They actually have the most depth on their back line. The question mark is their midfield play and their forwards. So in soccer, that's kind of a big deal because if you have a great defensive unit, unfortunately, at some point the dam's going to break because they're under so much pressure, which is what we saw last season. And the best way to take that pressure off your back line, score goals, win games, don't have draws, and don't have games coming down to the final, a penalty kick or the final minute. So that's for me more than even just the signings. It's like you noticed last year how they struggled offensively. Anybody watching them play can see that. So why isn't more being done? Because 2 years ago, they were an offensive powerhouse, juggernaut, scoring goals left and right. Clubs caught on to them. The scouting reports out. They weren't going to allow the Union to do the same things last season, and we saw that. So now an adjustment needs to be made, and I think for me, that's where the frustration comes because it doesn't feel like we've seen an adjustment. It feels like we're just going to run it back with the same group. Everyone's going to be better, and we're going to have a better result, similar to the Phillies. And to me, that's not enough, especially when every other team's making some sort of a change, and you're just coming back with the same exact group, expecting different results. So I don't know. I mean, I think they, on paper, should be a top team, but unfortunately, they're an injury or a piece away from not being a top team. They're also a piece away from being a top team. So it's like they're in a weird spot right now where they're
it almost sounds like they're in limbo right now.
They are. It's like you're on a shaky bridge and you're hoping it doesn't break because they could either get across and be a top team, or they have so much that they're relying on with their backs, and even someone like Kai Wagner and Jacob Glesnes and Jack Elliott and Nate Harriel to really get their offense going. Andre Blake, that's honestly something that's not been talked about much. They don't have a backup goalie, and he might be missing games for the Jamaican national team. That's kind of a big deal. So it's one of those things like the gif of the house burning. It's like, everything's fine. This is fine. Yeah, everything's fine. They'll be great. This is fine. But the house is burning down around us currently. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed on them. Yeah. All right. So let's transition with some Phillies talk here. Because again, so first, before we even say anything about the Phillies, everyone's counting down for the first, spring training practice. I know Jamie mentioned how much he loves when all the pitchers line up on the first day and throw. And I saw that yesterday. I'm like, I love that. But what I get the most excited for, and I literally checked today to see if they had a date, and I haven't seen it. my moment that gets me the most goosebumps is when you see the video of the big rig truck leaving Citizens Bank Park to make that trek down the clear. That's the official start to spring training for me.
That's what I said.
So that's what gets me going the most. So my 3 words to describe the Phillies right now were, are they done? And you already mentioned that they're missing a few pieces here and there. They should be contenders, but we want more than just contending. We want another World Series appearance. I'm still looking at all these, mid-level relievers, different moves being made across baseball, and it just everybody's panicking because Dave Dombrowski is doing nothing. Are you concerned with the lack of activity from this front office right now?
I am, and it's similar to the Union, unfortunately, which is why for me hosting both shows, I feel like I'm just always repeating myself because the same issues that I have with the Union are the same issues that I have with the Phillies. Uh, just just running back the same group with all, and look, I'm gonna take I can't, but the Dodgers, the Braves, the Rangers, it's the Astros. Everybody's making moves. The Yankees, everybody's making moves, and unfortunately, it's scary because you wonder this group. The last 2 postseasons, in my opinion, had the same issues that stopped them from winning the World Series and the same issues that stopped them from closing out in the NLCS. So to bring back the same group and just expect better is concerning. The only difference with the Phillies versus the Union is you're going to get a full season as long as, again, we can never predict injuries. Knock on all the wood you can. A full season of Bryce Harper at first base. You're going to get a full season without Kyle Schwarber having to play in the field. You're going to get a full season. You don't have to worry about Alec Bohm bounce around. He's locked in on third base. Johan Rojas. I've been calling him Yo-Ro, guys. I'm trying to get the nickname to stick on the show. I'm going to just drop it here too. You're going to get Johan Rojas, aka Yo-Ro, who's been working out. He seems like he's bulking up. They've obviously been working on the at-bats. Fingers crossed he can continue to be that Gold Glove caliber center fielder, but also just give you something in at-bats. So there is, unlike the Union, more that I could actually point to that should be better for the Phillies. What's up, Marshall Lynch?
There's a lot. My chat.
I love the overlap of our chat because Marshall's always in our show too.
Marshall's been following me since before my very early days of content creation.
I love that.
But the chat, there's a group that's in here every day chat because this show's 5 days a week, and we call them the Core 12. The Core 12 is very upset that I'm ignoring them to talk to you right now, and so I'm trying to flash some of their comments up on the screen.
Go for it. But Phil, I want to add, actually, the only thing that we've talked about on the show that kind of gives perspective is, although even someone like a Hector Neris, Robert Stevenson, who's on the market, the names that have been on the market we've talked about that could be potential good fits, there are a lot of teams that are trying to catch up to the Phillies. The starting pitching core, the bullpen, even someone as talented as we may overlook, we should get a full season of Trey Turner as well. So I just feel like despite our frustrations, the reminder that I'm trying to keep in perspective is everybody else is trying to catch up to what the Phillies can do. The Braves haven't been able to get past the Phillies. The Dodgers obviously needed to do something. The Yankees definitely need to do something, but it still makes me nervous because I'd love to see something. I'd love to see a minor addition, or as they talked about around the edges. Colby,
I was actually really disappointed. I was disappointed the Hector Neris situation because the contract he signed, 1 year, $9 million. Like everybody had this negative. Yeah, they have a negative connotation to him because of his time as a closer here. But realistically, he's become a darn good baseball, pitcher in Houston. So this is what they need. And everything I keep hearing is that they're waiting because they're hoping to see, Abel or McGreary, these guys in the minors, and can one of them step up and fill a rotation spot, as as that sixth starter or an extra bullpen arm. And we're not in maybe mode or the next 2 to 3 years. We're in win now mode with the Phillies, and unfortunately, those question marks, you can't really have them when you're trying to win a World Series.
And that's my issue, because this is a team that is absolutely the Union. I can argue both sides of them being a true championship contender team. They should at least be a top team in the conference, a playoff team. The Phillies, the World Series is there. Last season, 2 seasons ago, this season, the difference is 2 seasons ago, we were all just happy the Phillies got in. Get that wild card spot. Last season was kind of like, okay, they got to the World Series. The expectations there, but realistically, not sure. This season, there's a lot of pressure because if they fall short, and we have the same issues that we had last year where you don't have good at-bats in the playoffs, the relievers, fortunately, Craig Kimbrell's gone. So that should be a huge change. And we should get an Orion Kirkring that now gets a full season of pitching in the majors that come September, October, Orion will be better. But I do feel like with this being a win now team, I would have loved to have seen something. And I imagine we're going to get a move before the trade deadline. But like I mentioned with the union, I'm still not a fan of that because now you're not giving this player a chance to really work in through the course of spring training and the early parts of the season. And you're just waiting and throwing them in. So it's a win now team and let's make a move now.
Adam's saying need another starter and reliever. Everyone keeps talking about needing another reliever or two, and I agree. The starter thing is interesting to me because you've got Nola, you committed a lot of money to him. You got Zach Wheeler, who they're trying to extend. You gave an awful, and I got crushed on the show last year, the day after the Taijuan Walker signing. I said it was a terrible deal, but you still got him under a big contract, and Ranger Suarez. Like, do they realistically need a fifth starter on this team at this point?
I think that's less of the priority, in my opinion. I know Taijuan Walker is one that everybody is concerned about, but for you're talking about 4 and 5. Christopher Sanchez should get a nice full season. The issue with the Rangers is his health. Yeah. Can he stay healthy? The last couple of seasons, that's been his downfall. I expect this should be an up season for Aaron Nola, especially because last season we saw a slump in the fourth inning. And then Zach Wheeler with his last year, we're all waiting for the extension to happen. But Zach Wheeler should still prove to be one of the best starting pitchers in baseball. So I feel like of all the areas, to me, I would love to get another bullpen arm. And then also would love to get another player that can just give you, maybe play in the outfield, give you good at bats, because to rely on, I think Nick Castellanos will be great. I think between Brandon Marsh, Yoro, and even someone like Christian Pache, it's a solid group, but still would love to have one more. Jake Cave's not the answer when you need an at-bat, or even Christian Pache. So that's the piece that I feel like actually is bigger than a starting pitcher, is to be able to bring in someone that can give you good at-bats, because the bottom of the batting order sometimes, as we saw last year, especially when Johan Rojas was up in the playoffs, and the numbers were terrible that he put up, that's a concern to me. So starting pitcher, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'd rather get another bullpen arm, which is why someone like Hector Neris.
Right there. You actually made something that you actually made me cry on the inside for a second, because I didn't even think about it for a couple weeks. That every so often I remember that Jake Cave made the last out of last season's playoffs. And Jake Cave should not be the last guy up to the plate in an elimination playoff game. And the fact that you have an upgrade at that spot, that every time I hear that, it breaks my heart a little bit more.
And it breaks my heart because it's been the last 2 seasons. I'm okay with, you make a mistake one time, you'll learn from it. But back-to-back postseason trips where the issues why the Phillies lost were the same, which means there's no adjustments. In 162 regular season games, in everything in the playoffs, there was no adjustment being made. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I'm out of here. I'm frustrated. So I am fully on the same page as you. Like the game plan to just run it back with Jake Cave, Christian, like that's the part of the roster that makes me nervous. The relievers, again, Craig Kimbrell's gone, which is a huge help. Jose Alvarado should be great. Jeff Hoffman, Orion Kirkring. There's a lot of expectations for Orion coming into this year. But then who else? And then same thing goes for, if you're pinch hitting, if you need a good at bat, it's not Jake Cave, it's not Christian Pache.
Give me more Cody Clemens, right? Seriously.
Jeez.
I only got another minute or so of your time here. And I would be crushed by the core 12 if I didn't ask at least one movie question. we spend a lot of time with movie references on this show as well. Lately, it's been gangster movies. So
Okay.
there's like 4 people asking in the comments, Goodfellas or Godfather? What do you prefer?
It's Goodfellas. But it's funny you guys talk about movies because I love a good movie conversation. We can
Somebody
go
else
down that
brought up
rabbit
Paul
hole.
Walker movies for you.
Yes,
So.
because we talked about Paul Walker on my show, and Jamie's anti-Paul Walker. I'm all about, I think Paul Walker deserves every bit of the honors and everything that people give. And every year it's kind of like the reminder that Paul Walker passed and we're all in mourning. And Jamie's kind of like, move on. He shouldn't have been racing. And so I'm team Paul Walker because I think he was a great actor. And anytime somebody passes away like that, I don't care how stupid it was that he was racing. Nobody expects that. So but I would go Goodfellas over The Godfather, actually.
I
don't know.
actually agree with you on that. I think Goodfellas is one of the best perfect gangster movie. I actually put the Goodfellas in like my top 10 movies of all time.
Oh, see, you
Like,
know what?
that's
I love
how
a
much.
good.
Yeah.
I'm a good like law-abiding citizen, Shawshank Redemption. Like I need something with a
That's number 1.
twist. Yeah, those movies are definitely top for me.
Absolutely.
Because I love something that's it's a gangster movie, but there's also a little twist in there where it's not as predictable. And anything like Gerard Butler killed it in Law Abiding Citizen. That movie, hands down, is probably my favorite movie of all time.
He's an
right now.
extremely underrated actor. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
truly believe that he's not just like, it's not just 300 or the action. Like,
Oh, that was
there's
such a good movie too.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there are acting chops there with him. So
Yeah.
there we go. All right, guys,
There's
I want to thank
range.
Renee Washington for giving us about 25 minutes of her time this morning. I know you're super busy, and you got lots going on. What do you've got going on today and the rest of this week over there at PHLY Sports?
So today's only Tuesday, but we've got union shows today and Thursday. We've got the Phillies shows. So Phillies shows are going to be shifting to 11 a.m. instead of our usual noon time. But this is our last week of still having some noon dates. So today we're at noon, and then the union shows at 3:30. And we'll be talking everything. We're going to be talking movies. We're going to be talking. We'll be talking. Listen, until the Phillies make a move, we've been doing our prospect deep dives. We've been going off the rails every once in a while. But the last thing I want to say, I see in the chat, Paul Walker, Heath Ledger. It's Heath for sure. The Joker.
I didn't even see it. So many comments come through on a daily basis. I missed some of them. So
that's a good thing. That's a really good problem to have.
Unfortunately, he changes his name every other week, so I still know him as TMC. This guy, and so I've ignored some of his comments. Some of his comments can be a little inappropriate sometimes, so I've kind of moved them off to the side for this little moment here with you here. But yeah, you're doing great work over there. The whole entire team is fantastic. I love what you guys are doing. Hopefully, we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely, Phil. And also for anybody that's interested, I know we're going down to Clearwater for spring training. We have a PHLY road trip coming up, and you can check those details out on our website at PHLY.com, where we're going to be taking a whole group down, where everyone's flying down. There's different activities around spring training. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great chance to be able to see some baseball, but also get a chance to just have some fun in some warm weather. And
I actually clicked on the link the other day to look. I clicked on the link to check out the details. I can't. I just can't work it this year. I can't make a trip to Clearwater. I just can't. I want to so bad. My wife and I have talked about it literally like 4 times. We love Clearwater.
This is it. If you're looking for a sign, this is it.
There's a lot of signs that say I need a trip to Clearwater. Again, everybody, make sure you guys follow Renee at Renee P. Wash on social media, and of course the PHLY Sports team. Thank you very much, Renee. Have a great day.
Thank you. See everybody.
Have a good one. That was Renee Washington right there. Again, thank you guys. Sorry about the chat. We'll get back to the chat tomorrow. Of course, Bill Matz won't be seeing it. Now, Bill Matz will be here on Thursday. Don't worry. I got him locked up. That was a great interview. Lots of great insight from Renee. And a lot of the great stuff that you can expect to see over the next couple of weeks, as I've got a lot of guests lined up to join us on the show. Bring a different perspective. I know it kills the chat, but we do what we can do. But that's the show today. That's all we got. Luke tomorrow will be joining us to talk Phillies. We'll continue this 3-word description story and conversation. Plus whatever news comes up. Eric is in his bag. I don't even know what he said. I have missed so many things in the comments trying to pay attention to all the union names and things she was saying that I kind of missed. Tom Hanks also mastered the art of parenting in that movie. But Road to Perdition, I did see that comment from you. It's a great, great movie. Tom Hanks' best role, The Wonders. We're going to end on that right there. Everybody, have a great day. I am Phil Stiefel. This is Philadelphia Sports Network. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button. I could use it, the $500 super chatter, because I got a dentist appointment in 35 minutes, no, 45 minutes that I have to get to it. I'm sure that's going to be a couple $100 bills right there dropped today at the dentist just for a cleaning. You've got mail warms my heart. I'm going to charge people $30 for 3 words unless you should, Mitch. Sorry, I gave you the shout out, Mitch, like 3 times. I stole your idea. I can't help it. Monetize it. That's right. That's right. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow on all platforms, guys. Have a great day. And yes, thank you very much, Adam, for tuning in. And it's still very simple. End of every show. Go Birds.